the SME Support Center, where micro, small, and medium enterprises get the big support they need. The SME Support Center is an aggregator of SMEs in Africa and a provider of various support services to the SMEs. Our services include financial institution services, funding fairs, SME business advisory, SME investment advisory, aggregated services such as insurance, logistics, and billboard partners, development programs consulting. Visit our website, register, and gain access to funding opportunities, tender opportunities, funding news, and trade events sent to your email. SSC Studio is your one-stop destination for your professional photography, videography, and social media branding services. If interested, visit our website, click on SSC Studio, and fill out the registration form. We have an access to market initiative called the SME Blue Pages, where we showcase manufacturing made in Africa brands. To register, select Add Listing and add the details.
Okay, thank you so much, team. Thank you so much, team. So you did see two videos. The first one was on NCBA, the bank that says go for it. So we have an amazing program with NCBA, Africa Guarantee Fund, and our other partner called Unga Group. And we are all about really just scaling up the SME ecosystem in Africa and really supporting people. Great to see you all. Great to see you all. I'll read a few shout outs before I invite our speaker for the day. The rest will catch up as we go on. George Ndegwa, you're from Huruko and Thomson Engineering and Huruko Farm in Kinangop, karibu sana. Felix from Aquaculture Consortium, great to see you. A lot of associations here, great to see you. Martha Nzioka from Grace Valley Farm, Kitui, asante sana, great to see you. Joyce Kamugisha, yes, from Tanzania, great to see you, Joyce. From Tanzania, they deal with cashew nuts, spices, wholesale and retail. Joyce, great to see you as always, great to see you. Rose Matogo from Zimbabwe, great to see you. Yeah, you're in organic fertilizer manufacturing in Zimbabwe. You're recently given a license to market organic fertilizer in Zimbabwe, and you have plans underway to grow your manufacturing. Great to see you, Rose. You've given a lot more description. Great to see you, Rose, all the way from Zimbabwe. At the center, we work across Africa. We work in Zimbabwe. We work in Malawi. Those two countries, we really have been everywhere in those two countries. We've been in all districts in Zimbabwe. We've been in almost all districts in Malawi. So great to see you guys. Great to see you guys. Fami Musanjie, so your director, Kwani Aquaponics, Mombasa County, great to see you. Lucy, you put your social media pages, great to see you. Kanyi, yeah, your Kenya Captain Farm Tech, great to see you. You provide low-cost farm manufacturing and equipment, great to see you. Great to see you. So, guys, we are live on YouTube. We will share this as more and more people join. I see it's 12 minutes past 11. I can give a few more shout-outs before I invite the speaker of the day. We are going to have an exciting time. Farm to Fork, guys. Farm to Fork is the topic, and it is all about solutions to deal with post-harvest losses, solutions for post-harvest losses, solutions for post-harvest losses. Great to see you all. I'll give a few more shout-out. Put your Instagram page, your Facebook page, your website for those of you who have. Please put all that on chat. I have at least 1 minute to do that. Great to see you all. I think I have 1 more minute to do that. Great to see you all. We're going to have an exciting time. We're also going to have a tour to Cold Solutions on the 6th, specifically only for avocado exporters, because we feel they will really benefit from this solution. So, guys, feel free to we'll put the application link in the end, put your name and business here. Great to see you. Vincent Kimutai, yes, you deal with post-harvest solutions in grains. Great to see you, Vincent. Great to see you. Kwesi from Togo, great to see you, Kwesi. First time we're having someone from Togo, actually. Great to see you. Kwonge Teach has put their website. Kwesi, thank you, thank you, thank you. Team, please take note of Kwesi's email. I'd like to get in touch. Rashid, get to see you. Yes, you're from Galgalo at Premium Bank. Great to see you, Somalia. Yes, we also work in Somalia. We've partnered with the Somalia government. We work with all these guys. Great to see you. Wow, so many people from various parts. Great to see you. Farmtech, thanks for putting your registration. So I see it's exactly 14 minutes past. And at the center, we start and end on time. Everyone else will catch us. So without wasting any more time, I want to introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Doctor, sorry, you don't say Mr., you say Dr. Newton Matope. Great to see you, Dr. Newton. As I was reading about him, I really just said there's such rich experience in Africa and other people should really, really learn from it. He's been in logistics, distributions for a very long time, over 30 years. And he's the CEO of Cold Solutions. Cold Solutions is just amazing. For those of you who will tour it, you will see what I mean. And I want to invite him. You can now put your video on, your mic on. You're very welcome, Dr. Newton. Feel free. Dr. Newton will speak to us for a maximum of 45 minutes, uninterrupted. So guys, put your questions on chat as he speaks. Put your questions on chat. Put everything you want to ask on chat. And then from 12 to 12:30, we'll have a Q&A session. So Dr. Newton, feel free, very much welcome. Welcome to this Pan-African platform. And really, we are looking to hear from you and to be inspired from your experience on logistics and farm to fork. How can we create less waste supply chains? So very welcome, Karibu Sana. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Rose. I appreciate. Good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for taking time to attend this webinar, where we basically step through one of our key challenges we have in Africa. So I will just share my screen so that we can start. Right. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. Now you can share the slides, please. Yes, on slides share. Wonderful. Yes, we're good now. Yes.
Good. So the topic that we are going to discuss is farm to fork, which is a real challenge for for all of us in Africa, and looking at how do we address this in terms of from a logistics perspective, where we looking at how do we then manage the waste that comes through from this process. So to start with, the stark reality is that nearly half of all the...
Sorry,
Yes?
Dr. Newton, I think we can see your notes and the next slide. Is there a way to just make it?
Okay, so maybe I need to...
Yes.
Sorry, let me do it the other way around.
Sure. Sorry for that.
Just give me 1 minute.
No problem.
I think it should be the other way around.
Sorry, guys.
Yes. Is it okay now?
It's yet to come on.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect now. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Some technology here. Okay. So I'll go back again. I think the biggest challenge we have, which is a reality, is that up to 45% of our fresh fruit, vegetables, and other perishables grown by by our hardworking farmers across sub-Saharan Africa never make it to the consumer market. This loss happens after harvest, not in the field. And this is a direct result of broken logistics, a lack of temperature control, handling delays, and a fragmented logistics, which then drive these losses. And also handling. So this is just about, it's not about food waste. I think it's all about loss of income to our farmers, raising consumer prices, and also reducing food security. Imagine where half of your produce, you cannot take it to the market. And just for statistics, in Kenya, agriculture employs more than 40% of the total population, and approximately 70% of the rural population, and which is really the principal source of rural incomes and livelihoods. So if you look at it, this is not just about a farming problem. It's really about the logistics. How do we ensure that these losses are addressed? And obviously, the key there is that if we reduce our waste through cold chain, we can be able to increase and boost incomes for our farmers. So I'll step through some of the activities and some of the key intervention that can be done through the logistics supply chain and throughout the value chain to ensure that we maintain the quality throughout, and also ensuring that whatever is produced, it does not go to waste. So I'll just briefly introduce our company, Code Solutions. We are a leading provider of global certified controlled storage, third party. So we are the leading East Africa's logistics provider dedicated to the entire cold chain. So we just don't see ourselves as a storage or transport company. We see ourselves as enablers. So our goal is to provide sustainable cold logistics, the backbone that connects Africa's farmers to its market. And in doing so, tackle the losses, the up to 45% losses head on. And in terms of our reach, we are based in our flagship facility is in Kenya, in Tatu City. We are also putting up another facility in Mombasa. We have operational facilities in Uganda and Rwanda. We're actually upgrading those. And then Tanzania also is coming up and should be up and running the next 24 months. And in terms of our services, particularly for the agricultural sector, we provide a one-stop solutions, both first mile and last mile temperature logistics. And we do have trucks that are able to, temperature control trucks that will meet the various requirements for farmers based on the volumes that they want to move. And then we also provide end-to-end supply chain coordination. And then in terms of storage, we provide multi-temperature storage. We do have capacity to be able to provide storage dependent on the product, whether it's frozen, chilled, or ambient. And we do provide also cooling facilities, which is one of the critical things that where you find that a lot of losses are actually being experienced. through the value chain. So why Quote Solutions? I think one of the key factors that distinguishes us in terms of our offering is, one, we focus a lot on food safety, and with this we have got various certifications where we adhere to, and we live those certifications. We also have integrated management system where we focus on quality, environment, health and safety, and also operational excellence. And one of the key things there is that to ensure that, one, when our clients bring in the product, we make sure that the temperature, the quality is maintained throughout. And then we also have environmental, social, and governance leadership, where we do annual reporting. We do a lot of stakeholder engagement and CSR responsibilities, and we're also certified in terms of our our building, which is LEED Gold certification, which means that we are more environmental conscious. We have we use ozone-friendly gases as well as solar as well. And every day, one of the key things that we also work with, that we look at compliance. So we have an enterprise risk management system. We also make sure that we work with the relevant bodies that govern our operations, be it for environment, workplace, and also the agricultural societies that govern our operations, and also obviously local authorities that we do business with. And we are just more than storage. We are, like I mentioned earlier on, we are an enabler to to our clients. So we do value-added services. So we provide, for those who are exporting, we provide opportunities for you to do air freight. We actually be able to consolidate your orders. We do all the export procedures. For those who are importing, we provide the import procedures. We do repacking of products. We do kitting, sorting, stock take, and so on. And one of the key things that we also offer to the market is blast chilling and blast freezing, where products need to be brought down. I'm sure you're aware, once you harvest a product, they attain a certain temperature. And when you need to then, before packing, you need to make sure that the temperatures are managed so that you can be able to to ensure that you don't, the quality, there's no loss in the process. And in terms of our capacities, I think it's very clear. We do have, like in Tatu City, our flagship, we have 15,000 pallets of multi-temperature storage, and we have almost 1,000 square meters of a pack house. So clients can bring in their products, and we are able to facilitate that. In Kampala, Uganda, we have 8,000 pallets, which is actually upgrading. In Mombasa, we are constructing 8,000 pallets as well. In Dar es Salaam, we will do 8,000 pallets. And Kigali, we'll do 8,000 pallets, but we already have a pack house that should be operating in the next 3 or so weeks. And at the end of the day, the whole idea there is to be able to support the agriculture value chain. And our facility handles ripe fruit for processing, mangoes, berries, passion fruit, using the latest cryogenic technology. So we're able to freeze. So for example, if we have an export requirement, we're actually able to freeze whether it's avocados, mangoes, and so on, and be able to offer you that service in terms of packing, stuffing of the containers, and then all the export procedures. And I believe this is one of the key things that's really opening up, especially in the Far East. And then we also service the food markets, be it quick service restaurants, the hotels, HoReCa industry, supermarkets, e-commerce, and food companies. And we see ourselves as a partner where you don't necessarily need to invest in this infrastructure. We're able to provide you with all that, including the transportation as well as the storage. So why does cold chain matter? I think this is one of the critical things that we need to look at. Cold chain is very important because it can extend your shelf life of a product. So imagine a fresh product. and where it's then kept in a controlled temperature, depending on the temperature requirements of the product, you're able to extend your shelf life between 200 to 400%, which means that you won't have any losses. And then in doing so, you are able also to reduce your post-harvest losses, because that's where a lot of losses are being experienced. And with cold chain, you actually be able to to achieve up to 30% reduction. And in doing so, clearly means that the farmer, instead of selling 10 tons, is easily able to sell up to 15 tons, for example, of their produce, which then obviously results in better margins and better incomes. And typically, if you look at the food production cycle, you have your production on the farm, be it chicken, be it farm produce, and then you have the processing, the distribution, the hotels, the restaurant, the consumer, and so on. And the key there is to make sure that the product gets to the consumer in the same condition as they expect. And along the whole chain, to ensure that the temperature is maintained, there's no loss. Okay? So it includes your post-harvest cooling, your temperature management as you transport the product, your storage, and then your last mile delivery. I think this is the critical things. And research is shown that this can be achieved. And clearly, cold chain is a lever that can be used to ensure that we have got food security. Because by addressing these challenges, one is able to actually ensure that you have continuous supply of products to the market. So what I want to do now is just to walk you through the 4 critical interconnected pillars where temperature integrity is absolutely important and should be maintained. Think of this as a vulnerable journey of your tomatoes or your mangoes. If it gets too hot, at the end of these stages, the quality goes down. And then, obviously, waste will go up. We will look at how we can secure the chain at the very start with post-harvest cooling, during transport, at all the strategic storage hubs, and then in the final complex, last mile delivery, basically making sure that the product gets to the market where it's required, where we can then be able to earn some income. The first and perhaps the most crucial intervention happens right at the farm or at the aggregation point. Generally, your produce is literally still breathing after harvest, generating what is called field heat. If we don't remove this heat within the first 4 to 6 hours, which is really what is called the golden window, the quality and shelf life are going to be compromised forever. So the critical thing there is, and the biggest challenge especially for small scale holder farmers, is access to affordable and reliable energy for cooling. And the current solutions that are available in the market right now are mobile solar-powered mobile chillers and pack houses that can be brought directly to the rural collection centers, making this vital first step accessible and cost effective. And most of these mobile pack houses right now are offering what is called storage as a service. Essentially, you're not paying for the whole room, so to say. You're only paying for the crates that you're bringing in for storage, be it 2 crates of tomatoes or mangoes or vegetables. You're only paying for that. So that means that you can actually be able to directly relate that cost through your production cost and also your income. So once pre-cooled, this is where the journey begins. And this is where also a lot of the chains, break. With produce sitting in the sun on the back of an open truck, and this is what we see, across the particularly sub-Saharan Africa. And in terms of intervention there, particularly our solutions, Escort Solutions, is that we have a fleet of modern, refrigerated trucks that are more than just, boxes with refrigeration. They are smart connected assets. So basically, we're able to monitor in real time the location where the vehicle is, and most importantly, the internal temperature in real time. And if any of the units, starts to drift outside the set range, we can actually get an alert, and you can then be able to act immediately. And in doing so, combined with that, we also look at route optimization. So it's not just about moving the truck and moving the goods; it's about moving them intelligently. So for one of our clients, who's been exporting French beans and mangoes, this end-to-end visibility alone helped reduce spoilage, because we're able to provide that intervention and visibility to ensure that the product it's in good condition. The third one is smart cold chain, smart cold storage rather. So cold storage is the beating heart of the chain, which is really the strategic hub. It is not just a static warehouse. It's where we aggregate produce for many small holders to create commercial volumes. So for example, you might be harvesting, over a period of time, and you bring in the products, to us. We'll be able to consolidate that until you have sufficient enough either to take to the market as you see fit, or for exports, as the case may be. And we also perform cross-docking for efficient distribution. So for example, if you want to bring in the product for cooling and aggregation, we can still also be at the same time be able to load the products into another truck for delivery to the market. Bear in mind that the demands for the market will probably be based on what orders have been provided to you. And then we're also able to hold the inventory depending on the shelf life of the product, where now you can also play around with your supply and demand. So for example, if there is a glut in the market, you're actually able to hold the product for slightly longer until the prices are firm, and then be able to then offload when you need to. And our facilities generally are equipped with IoTs, which is basically Internet of Things, where we have sensors and where we constantly monitor the temperature and humidity. And we also have a warehouse management system, which enables us to track and trace the stock. Basically, here we are able to track based on your production date, your batch number, your storage location, and everything. And this will ensure that we are able to build trust both in the local and particularly also if you're going to be involved in the export market, because they would want to have that traceability. And also the good part with that system is that if in case there's a challenge with one of the batches at your customer end, you don't need to recall all the products. You actually be able to zero in on a particular batch. Let's say you harvested a particular batch at a certain date, and you get an allocation. You can be able to zero in on that and be able to recall it back for anything that you probably need to in either repacking or resorting and so on. This means that you don't need to then worry about even to recall the whole product range. At the same time, we in the process, we also use advanced equipment. So we minimize as much as possible handling of the product with with hands, because sometimes damages might occur, particularly depending on the sensitivity of the products that one is looking at. And then the final leg is last mile. And generally, this is often the most complex, involving multiple stops, particularly in congested urban areas. I'm sure you've seen trying to navigate just as a normal your normal car navigating Nairobi or Lagos or Johannesburg or Harare. You can actually imagine the traffic that one has to go through. And any breakdown in this process here wastes all the effort invested in the previous stages, because it's very, very difficult to ensure that if you don't have the right kind of equipment, you're able to deliver to your clients in the same conditions that you've actually harvested well, brought into storage very well, or brought into aggregation center very well, sorted it out, packed it nicely, and then it gets spoiled during the process of distribution. And for this, we've developed a suite of urban-friendly solutions. So we have either smaller vans that are able to maneuver depending on the volumes, and either we deploy bigger vehicles depending obviously also on the volumes to be delivered. And I think one of the trends that we are also looking at is also to look at electric vehicles to reduce emissions. And we are working a lot with e-commerce platforms as well as retailers to ensure that we're able to deliver within a particular window. Because generally what you find, because of fresh produce, remember, as a consumer, you want to walk into the supermarket and be able to buy fresh produce for that particular day. It then means that these processes are going to happen either early in the morning or overnight, so that by the time the retail market opens up, you already have the product on the shelf. So this also ensures that the quality that we have preserved from the farm is delivered directly to the retail market, to the restaurant, to the end consumer, or to exported either sea freight or, as the case may be, ensuring that you minimize the losses along the way. So these are very critical components that will ensure that our farm to fork, which without losses in between, is being addressed. And any break in this value chain obviously results in quality issues, food safety, and also loss along the way. And I think key is you do not need to invest in all this. There are organizations such as us, such as Code Solutions, that are offering purely this service, and you're able to partner and only pay for the service that you're utilizing. So some people probably believe that I'll buy my own truck, I'll invest in a truck and do my own deliveries. But if you look at it, probably you do deliveries within 3-4 hours, you're done, and you've packed the vehicle. So for me, that becomes a wasted asset. You could probably use those funds to be able to expand your business, increase the area under hectares under production, or bring in more technologies to be able to manage your business. So essentially, those 4 stages are critical to ensuring that the farmer does not lose. So we've seen the 4 pillars of the cold chain. But now, how do we make this infrastructure not just effective, but also sustainable and future-proof. I think that's one of the key things that we need to look at. And the answer lies in a powerful combination of energy, digital, and secular innovations. Obviously, deploying these kind of innovations at scale has got its own hurdles. But there are a lot of enablers that one will be looking at. So if you look at renewable energy, we have options where there's now solar power purchase agreements where there's no upfront capital. And basically, you are locking yourself into clean, affordable energy. There's also thermal energy storage, which acts as a thermal battery, basically freezing water during the day to provide nighttime cooling. And then that decouples your generation from energy generation from the demand. And this is something that's really happening in terms of solutions. I think you have seen the earlier slide where we now have offerings in the market of solar powered aggregation centers. And then the next innovation is basically digital and IoT solutions. So IoT means basically Internet of Things. So IoT sensors track temperature, humidity, door openings, and locations in real time. So basically, you are able, in real time, be able to see, be it storage, be it a vehicle, you can actually be able to see whether if a driver is on en route, you can actually be able to tell whether the driver is stopped on the way, the door has been opened, and so on. And with cloud dashboards, this provides you with live visibility. And one of the key things that's also happening with these kind of solutions is that there's a lot of data that is generated in the process, and then that results in more predictive maintenance and analyzation. So basically, you're looking at the compressor performance, basically both within the storage and also within your vehicle, so that you can actually be able to see, in terms of the performance, the heat areas, whether it's failing or not, and then obviously that will make sure that you prevent the failures before they occur. And then you also have circular logistics. I think one of the key things that you also are aware is that there's a lot of waste being generated, plastic packaging, and all those. So what's happening now, I'm sure this is already something in place, where you have reusable plastic crates, right? Where basically these are able to replace single-use packaging in continuous loop, right? So this is critical, particularly where you've got volumes of product that you're actually putting in the market. And I think one can then argue that there's also a cost in collecting, this. But I think at the end of the day, if then one looks at it from a bigger picture in terms of what is the cost vis-a-vis the intervention that we are providing, because we also remember that we are also looking at taking care of the environment. And then also what's happening is that there's also technologies that are helping with anaerobic digestion, where your organic waste is now being turned into biogas. So this can actually be, on the farm, where you can actually turn into biogas for electricity generation or for gas, and then also fertilizers. So obviously you're now turning those losses into a resource. So this obviously results in a triple win, what one would call a triple win impact. You have lower costs and emissions, extended life, product life, and also more nutritious food reaching the consumers, because the quality is being maintained all the way. And bottom line there is that there's better margins for the farmers, and farmers can actually be able to move away from subsistence farming to more where they can actually be able to generate income. So with all these innovations, one is able to build a cold chain that is more resilient, profitable, and scalable for Africa's future. I think as our population grows, demands for food are going to grow. And if we don't put in intervention, it clearly means that there's going to be more and more losses. And some of these innovations, there's been a lot of developments all the way, particularly if you look at solar and so on, the costs are continuously, coming down. And these enablers are becoming very clear. And end of the day is what we now want to look at is what's next. What are the key issues that we are facing in cold chain, and how do we then build a resilient future? It generally is going to be a collective effort. We must continue to invest in physical and digital infrastructure that guarantees temperature integrity. We must build inclusive chains that don't leave smallholder farmers, particularly small-scale farmers, behind. And we must also be able to embrace those sustainable innovations. And if you look at in terms of the challenges, basically you have access to renewable energy, which can then be addressed perhaps through off-grid solutions, high capital costs and limited finance. So this is where the likes of us as Code Solutions come in, where you're actually offering third party and you're only paying for the service that you are providing, you're paying for the space that you are using. And then the fragmented infrastructure. So basically, if you look at those four critical points I raised earlier on, you find that currently there's a lot of fragmentation in the process, because each one is operating independently of the other and does not necessarily, have a continuous view of what's happening. And that is one of the critical things that we are able to address. And then what are the enablers that are available? One is the power purchase agreements or the private, public partnerships models and blended finance, regional, collaboration and private investment. So I think this is where the SME, team can actually come in place. Something that's working very well, innovation that's been done for example, in Kenya, can be replicated easily in other countries. Off-grid solar power solutions, and then storage and service model. Like I mentioned earlier on, you only be paying, for whatever capacity you're utilizing, so that it just becomes a variable cost for you. It doesn't become a fixed cost. So if it's a truck, you only pay for the delivery that you need. If it's a storage, you're only paying for the crate that you are putting in store. So if you look at it now, what is really the call to action if we want to address our food security, particularly in Africa? Is one, we need to invest in temperature integrity infrastructure. So basically, we're looking at the whole chain from the time we harvest to the transportation of those products after harvest, temperature controlled into storage for aggregation or for storage, as the case may be, and then also to the market. And we also need to look at building inclusive chains for small scale holders, because obviously the critical thing there is finance. But if smallholders are going to get together, for example, where you have aggregation centers and so on, that can also reduce the cost. And then embrace sustainable innovations, because these new innovations, the beauty of it is that costs are coming down progressively, and end of the day, we should be able to take this advantage. And then critical also is to foster public-private partnerships. Basically, we cannot leave out the governments in these activities, particularly where food security is really one of the key SDG targets that a lot of governments have adopted. And I think bottom line is that we cannot have food security in Africa without first achieving temperature security. And this for me and for everybody else is the new imperative that we need to look at. How do we ensure that our farm to fork wish is being maintained, at the same time ensuring that there's food safety, there's income growth for our farmers in a sustainable way, and that whatever we're doing also, we're taking care of the environment, and then the ozone, which we're all aware is being depleted as our numbers grow. Thank you. And basically, as Port Solutions, we are ready to partner, and I believe that a less waste, more resilient Africa food system is within our grasp. But to take all of us as partners, either investors, policymakers, technologists, the farmers, logistics, supply chain professionals working together, and I think we can be able to achieve some of those easily and be able to ensure that we have food security across our continent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. Bang on time. Wow. I see people are giving you claps. Impressive, guys. I keep asking myself, why does avocado in this country only have 2 seasons? I mean, Dr. Newton, why do we always say we only have 1 season, of avocado? Why can't we have 2? With solutions like yours, I think this is very possible. Great to see you all. So I will get to the questions, guys. Let me give a few shout outs. Dennis Njao, Mosafira Bounty Farm and Demonstration Center. Great to see you. Rose Matongo from Zimbabwe. Great to see you. Elizabeth from Bafton from Zimbabwe. Great to see you. Great to see you. Jane Ziva from Zimbabwe. Great to see you, guys. Evans Keter, yes. You have over 3,000 trees from in Bomet, yes, and a lot of you will take you to co-solutions so you can discuss commercials. There's no need to have brokers in the middle. You can have people from your area, especially in Bomet. In Bomet, I've seen a lot of you come up. Amazing, Keter, great to see you. 3,000 trees you export to Europe, Middle East, and Asia. Karibu sana, Keter, karibu sana. Elizabeth Bafton, you say you do macadamia. You hope to get buyers with a good price. Guys, you've seen that. Great to see you all. Great to see you all. Helen, you feature agribusinesses company. So let me get to the question, guys. This is where I allow you to ask your questions and to Dr. Newton, and we can have a discussion. Jean Giroux. Jean is an expert in agribusiness, has been in the space for a long time. Jean is asking, do you have any involvement in produce for local markets? A lot of vegetables and fruits are lost here.
We certainly do have involvement. I think one of the key things that we need to address as a paradigm shift, particularly for our local farmers, is that intervention for cold chain is always viewed as an additional cost, which I don't believe it is. So if you look at it, generally, it's been ingrained into our farmers that if I harvest, 100 kgs of tomatoes, I'm guaranteed I will lose 200. So, it's part of life. But I think one of the key things there is that if you put into storage, because remember, it's all about temperature control. If you put into storage, you're probably going to result, instead of 20% loss or 30% loss, you're probably going to result maybe 5% loss, maybe due to handling, bruising, and so on. So the intervention is very critical. Unfortunately, our markets are getting to be mature, and generally also, yes, we are very price sensitive, but at the same time, I believe for those farmers who are able to put products into storage, you can actually be able to manage your supply and demand. Where there's excess supply, you can be able to put into storage, wait for the prices to firm up, and that cost of storage can actually be offset by the returns that you're going to get.
Wow. Impressive. Yeah. Jean, I hope that answers your question. Yeah. So the solution is storage. Yeah, the solution is storage so that you don't oversupply into the local markets. I hope that answers your question, Jean. Let me know. I know you're in this space. Isaac Onyango is asking, there's a lot of hype around artificial intelligence. Has it been practically used at any stage of your workflows? And what has the outcome been? Are you using any artificial intelligence in your whole process?
We are using that particularly in data analytics, because remember, most of the processes are repeating themselves continuously. And in the whole process, you're also getting a lot of data that you churn out, that you'll be able to capture. And in doing so, you then be able to give you a lot of predictive. That's why I was talking about predictive maintenance, solutions, where, for example, you know now that if this vehicle has been running for so many hours, you need to look at this, you look at this. If this code room is running so many hours, you look at this. And it's a question of now, how do you then be able to take that information, not only use it when you have a problem, but also be able to predict the future and be able to address, because at the end of the day, it's being more proactive. And remember, AI is an enabler. It's a tool that one is using instead of cracking, because remember, a lot of these things are not really new as such, right? Somebody's doing it somewhere. So it's a question of how do you embrace that technology, how do you embrace that knowledge to be able to better yourselves.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope that answers it, Isaac. Jean is still asking, please explain a little bit more about your first mile involvement, the community aggregation. Please explain a little bit more. Then I'll ask the second question. So explain a little bit more about your first mile involvement, the community aggregation. Are you involved at all in the first mile?
We are involved in first mile, particularly for those farmers that are contracted for export. Yeah. They have contracts for, particularly, I think we do work with some farmers that are doing, for example, French beans, for example. So generally, we work with the aggregator or the buyer, where we actually go into the farm and then we collect. So we basically use temperature controlled vehicles, and they are loaded whilst the temperature is being maintained, and then the product is brought to a facility where it goes through blast chilling to make sure that you bring down the temperature of that produce. Remember, there's a heat gain once you do harvest. So like I said earlier on, the first 4 to 6 hours of harvest are very critical for your quality and also for the perishability of your products. And generally, that's where we get involved. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Very amazing. And Jean is saying, just a comment, if you're converting organic waste into biogas in large quantities, you can claim carbon credits. Yes, indeed, you can claim carbon credits. So it's just a comment from Jean. She's really been in the agricultural sector for 30 plus years. Paul Ngetich is asking, how can Cold Solutions partner with potato cooperatives to develop sustainable and affordable cold storage infrastructure that minimize post-harvest losses and ensure consistent market supply for farmers? It's wordy, but I hope you've understood. How can you partner with potato cooperatives? Yes.
I think something that we really are keen on, would want to partner with particular cooperatives where there's already an established structures and grouping. Either we work with other partners for storage, because remember, for potato storage, what you're focusing more is on maintaining the humidity and also the temperature. And generally, with potato storage, you can store potatoes up to 3 months without really losing in terms of the qualities of the product. And this is where cold storage can come in, and we're happy to work with various cooperatives. At the same time, we can also then be able to link those farmers to the market, where some of these products can actually be converted into frozen, French fries, where then even your shelf life is actually been extended, and we're able to provide the storage and also the distribution, as the case may be.
Amazing, amazing. John Gadhungu is giving a comment. Sorry, before John, Paul Ngetich, I hope that helps. Yes. And Paul, we're organizing a tour. It will be very selective, so it wouldn't be everyone. We're organizing a specific tour for those of you who want to discuss specific commercial transactions with Cold Solutions. So we'll put the link. In fact, I'll ask my team to start putting the link so that you can register. The tour is on 6th of November. 6th of November. So very serious, people, so that we can now, it's better when you have different, when we are all there, then you discuss the commercials rather than one. Yeah. So guys, the team can put that, Yvette and the team, please put that. John Gathungu is saying, great presentation. Dr. Newton Cold Solutions have been a great partner to Food Bank in Kenya. Great to know. Great to know. John, perhaps you can put your website. We can know a bit about what you do. Thank you. Jean Njiru is also adding, temperature security can also improve farmers' income. Farmers sell produce immediately after harvest when prices are very low because they fear post-harvest losses, especially potatoes. Yeah, so it can actually improve farmers' income. Yes, indeed. This is why Cold Solution exists. Susan is saying, Susan Scal, thank you for your insightful presentation. This is encouraging for improving farmers' income and our sustainable food security. Great to see you, Susan. Thank you for that. Elisa Fanongechi, what is the cost estimate of portable solar storage you showed in number 1 of the cold storage value chain?
Okay, so I think that really depends on the provider. But I think the beauty of it is that you can store for overnight, you can store for 2 days, and you can store just 1 crate as well. So it really depends in terms of what are the metrics. But I don't see a crate costing more than 10-15 shillings overnight, depending obviously on the product. So this is something that I believe is being implemented, and generally we work also with some of our partners that are in the value chain, where we can actually be able to link you up if need be, and be able to then provide a seamless solution.
Wonderful. Emma is asking, thank you for the great presentation. Emma is in Savannah Circuit. Savannah Circuit have really given interesting innovations in the dairy value chain. So he's saying, please discuss about different financing approaches your business has used to advise a business that is also in an asset-heavy business, cooling for dairy. So Savannah Circuit, they cool for dairy farmers, dairy cooperatives. So please discuss about different financing approaches that your business has used. So what are the financing approaches you're using in a nutshell?
Okay, so I think the key there is, for me, stick to your core business. What is your core business? Your core business is aggregation for the milk in the dairy sector. And you can actually then partner and outsource the cooling on at the collection centers, and then the transportation of those products for processing. So you're able to actually get somebody else to invest in that, because like you've mentioned, it's asset heavy. So this is exactly what we're looking at as Cold Solutions, where we are providing those solutions that you do not need to invest in a physical building. You don't need to invest in trucks. You don't need to invest in storage. All right. We are the ones who are able to do that. So certainly something that we can be able to, we can be in touch, and we were able to where we can then be able to look and discuss at various options that are available.
Amazing. Very well said. Wow. Guys, our team has put the link for the tour, Cold Solutions. I know it says avocado, but if you feel like you really, I've seen potato is coming up. I thought avocado was a key need, but I've seen potato is really big. So if you're strong in potato, the cooperatives, we will organize a specific tour, and then we can discuss commercials. Yeah, so Michelle Ntewa, you're saying I'm a white button mushroom farmer facing transportation issues resulting in losses. Michelle Mtetwa, any comment about mushroom? She's in mushroom.
Exactly the same requirement. If you do not manage your temperature in terms of transportation and storage, you're definitely going to lose. Particularly, like if you look at mushrooms, they're very sensitive to temperature. So we can provide that intervention, where we can provide the solution for transportation and storage. And good part with mushrooms as well, they can actually have a much longer shelf life if they're stored in the right conditions. So please get in touch. We'll be able to provide some solutions.
in the end, we'll also put, I think the team is here, Cold Solutions teams. You can start putting the contacts, it's okay. But we'll also organize a tour. I think I saw Geoffrey, please put the contacts on chat also. It might be useful for some of them as well. Yeah, please put the contacts on chat. Nicholas is saying, thank you, Doc. What's your advice to someone who's considering to venture into farming with fear of where to sell the produce? Nicholas. Any general advice? Yes, please go ahead.
I think at the end of the day, one, obviously you have to understand your market and also what products you're intending to to go into. And I think the beauty of it is that, particularly in Kenya, we basically have literally two rain seasons. So it's a big blessing, and you can actually end up being more dependent, obviously, on the hectarage that you have. You can also focus more on the export side, because I think that's where demand will always be very consistent. And this is where you can actually be able to partner with the likes of us to make sure that your product quality from farm to the time it's actually exported does not erode. So certainly we're happy. You are welcome for the visit, and we actually be able to discuss. I think we have one or two team members of us who are actually very keen in that sector.
Amazing. So Eliza Fan, I think she said you didn't quite answer her question. When you talked about the cold storage value chain, you showed that portable solar storage. It was the first one. So she thought you actually sell it as Cold Solutions, or you actually provide it. So she's asking, what is the cost estimate of the portable solar storage you showed? What would be the cost estimate of such a thing? Yeah.
I can give you a rough cost, which is basically a solar powered one. You are looking at investing between, I think now costs are coming down, but anything between $20,000 to $30,000, for a equivalent 20-foot container size, which you will be able to hold between 10 to 15 tons of produce.
So $20,000 to $30,000, 20-foot container, which can hold about 10 to, what did you say last?
10 to 15
How much?
tons, 10 to 15 metric tons of produce. Yeah,
10 to 15 metric tons of produce.
Depending on how you are packing the products, yes.
Wonderful. Eliza Fan, I hope that answers it. Elizabeth, you're asking about CABS. Yes, that will come soon. I know CABS is just finalizing the product. CABS is a project we were involved in Zimbabwe, and a bank we are supporting in Zimbabwe. Don't worry, Elizabeth, that is been finalized. The product is being finalized. Yeah, that's not for this meeting. Thank you so much. Nicholas Sain is asking, where are your storage facilities located in eastern side of Kenya, especially Meru, where I come from?
Currently in Kenya, we have our facility in Tatu City, Kiambu, and then we are setting up another one in Mombasa. But we have the beauty of it is that we are mobile, so we have trucks that can come and pick up your product. Right now, we are providing more of bulk storage, but obviously, depending on demand, as the demand grows, we can also work with other partners, like I mentioned earlier on, where we can actually be able to put in, the primary storage, which is really more of the post-harvest storage. Because remember, you have different stages of storage. You have the storage that you need as soon as you harvest. You transport the product to an aggregation center or to a packing center, and then be able to either send to the market or to export, as the case may be. But currently, we do not have anything in Meru, but it's something that we are able to provide as a means of transport. We can actually be able to pick up your products there and put them into storage.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Jack from my team has put registration for the tour. If successful, we'll contact you. Thank you so much. Sarafina Mugo is asking, thank you for the great presentation. Is there an assurance on the quality after storage?
Definitely. So I think one of the key things that we really focus on as a service provider is the quality. So critically, I think quality also depends now on how it's handled initially once you do the harvest, because I think this is where the key issue is. The first 4 to 6 hours of a product, the life cycle starts from there. And if it's not handled properly, they stored properly, and also temperature is managed, the rest of the process will happen, but it will not necessarily give you that comfort. So look at those 4 stages as one seamless stage that you're able to, one seamless intervention that you're able to provide. And if you do that, I can assure you your product quality will be guaranteed along the way. And remember also, key thing there is that you're able to identify the batch number, the production date, the harvest date, and we're able to provide that information. So that information becomes like an ID of your product throughout the value chain until it's consumed by the customer, by the consumer rather.
Very interesting. I hope that answers your question, Sarafina. Job-free Wambo is asking very, very, very good question. In the potato value chain, especially among smallholder farmers we work with in Nakuru, one of the biggest challenges remains high post-harvest losses due to inadequate storage and lack of access to cold chain facilities. Many farmers are forced to sell their produce immediately after harvest at low prices to avoid storage which greatly affects their incomes and discourages investment in quality seed and production practices. Given these realities, can financial institutions as NCBA or AGF provide flexible financing mechanisms or guarantees to help cooperatives invest in cold chain infrastructure? You can comment, then I can comment on the financing, but please comment on potato. Seems like potato is also a low-hanging fruit for you guys. Please go ahead. Please comment on that.
Yeah, certainly. I think potato is one of the key, if you look at it in terms of the carbohydrates, it's very key in our diet. And I think, like the mentioned, that a lot of losses are being experienced in post-harvest, and also being forced to sell, soon after harvest, and obviously resulting in lower incomes. I think the intervention we provide there is basically both the post-harvest, where depending obviously on the variety of your potatoes, the post-harvest, and also after being processed. So I think one of the key things there is that there are companies that are processing potatoes, but they are processing specific varieties, which I believe most of the farmers are aware of, and they're also providing a lot of extension support. So this is an area where we come in. Once it's processed, we are able to provide bulk storage, and you can actually store processed potatoes for anything up to 18 months without the quality deteriorating at all. But in terms of the post-harvest storage, I think this is where the critical issue is. And like I mentioned earlier on, we are happy to work with partners that are able to provide, particularly where it's a cooperative, where you've got a good captive market and there's sufficient volumes. We can certainly be able to look at intervention and be able to invest. Because our key, our key focus is to provide that intervention, both in terms of the post-harvest management of losses and also storage for long term. So something that we'll be happy to discuss further if need be.
Sure, Godfrey. And very interesting, because they're already aggregated. Like if you've aggregated them in Nakuru, I mean, it's worth a discussion on collecting them for transport and then storage within Tatu City. Is that feasible? Isn't it? That's also an option, isn't it, Dr. Newton?
Yes, it's very feasible, yes.
It's very feasible, yeah, because it's just about volume. So if you have volumes, the cooperatives, not everyone needs to invest in assets, like Dr. Newton is saying. You can imagine all of us looking for money to invest in cold storage in all the cooperatives in this country. Like, it wouldn't be sustainable. But there are companies like Cold Solutions, who that is their main business, investing in these assets. And so that then you can work with them, find solutions on how then they can come to your area or work with you. I hope that makes sense, Godfrey. Godfrey, please let me know if we've answered your question. Let me know. Yeah, but certainly you can imagine looking at NCBA looking at investment proposals for all these cooperatives in all these various parts. And so strategically, they would rather focus on one person who's doing this as an asset provider. But like Dr. Newton has said, happy to discuss some more. Godfrey, let us know if you have more questions. Geoffrey has put some contacts for Cold Solution there. Purity saying very insightful presentation and discussion. Thank you, Dr. Matope. Jean is saying, I think that growth of cold chains is enormous. Each small town requires cold storage for farmers. Please comment on that. I think that the growth of cold chains is enormous. Each small town requires cold storage for farmers. Please comment about that.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid statement. But I think the key issue there, if you look at it more from a cost perspective, is that we are looking at economies of scale, right? Because if it's a farmer setup where it's a cooperative, where you're organized and you've got so many farmers, it's very easy. At the same time, I think one of the critical things that you also need to appreciate is that most of these products are seasonal, right? So the facility will end up being a white elephant for time of the year. So
That's
one
what
then
has
has to
happened.
understand what is the cost involved, and also what other products can then be stored. Because remember, potatoes have got a window of harvest until the next harvest. Unless then you have also infrastructure where you are now also doing irrigation, such that you have continuous produce available. Then easily the investment becomes much more palatable. At the same time, obviously, be able to sustain itself. So I think those are some of the things that one has to consider. But critically, I think where there's farmer groupings, it's very easy to be able to aggregate, particularly depending on the distances in between, and then be able to provide a solution.
Wow. I hope that answers it, Jean. Very well said. Very well said. Very well said. George's legumes. Speak about legumes. George's Mukisho is asking about, is there any advantage for a farmer in legumes? Legumes.
Legumes, I'm assuming you're talking about
Beans. Like French beans is actually a legume, I think. Yeah, but go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. I think if you look at French beans, the good part is that there is an enormous appetite, demand for French beans, particularly in the export market. So it can either be the green one or the canned one. I think there's that demand, and I think the key issue there is then to be able to look at the volumes, because if you are doing it alone in an area where there's nobody else doing it and there's no center of aggregation, end of the day, French beans is basically a volumes business. Because imagine trying to fill up a 40-foot container. You really have to have harvest continuously. At the same time, there's also the export element. You can also be looking at air freight as well. So certainly there is big demand for French beans, and I'm sure for those who have traveled to Europe, you have seen a lot of the produce coming in from Africa, in supermarket chains in Europe. So definitely there is big appetite there, because bear in mind the weather is not very friendly for this kind of products. So it's an opportunity for us to be able to take advantage of that.
Wonderful, wonderful, very interesting. Wow, guys, Paul Ngetish is saying he's from the East Africa Farmers Federation. He's saying Nakuru is a hub of potato production in Kenya. Storage facility is a necessity. So that's what he's saying. Definitely room for collaboration. And Paul, I've just asked you for your number, even as we do the tours, to see. I don't know what your thought is on that. He's saying Nakuru, definitely storage facility is a necessity. Any comments on that? But I know you really answered quite a bit of that.
Yeah, certainly. I think Nakuru is really one of the largest potato producing areas. And the good part, I think, of that is that there's also been quite a bit of investment by companies that are converting potatoes into French fries. So we'll be happy to have further discussions and see how we can work together in terms of just making sure that at the end of the day we have sustainable solutions.
Wonderful. Benjamin Aduli is from Nigeria. He's saying we are a cooperative of over 250,000 farmers in Nigeria. Can we partner with you to set up cold solutions in Nigeria? The demand is high in Africa, but yeah, comment. Please comment. Please comment.
Bring it on. We would really love to do that. I think something that we will be looking at. I think right now our focus is the fund that we have is focused on East Africa, but I know that
Sure.
we are working on additional, opportunities, particularly in West Africa. We've had discussions with Africa Finance Corporation. They visited our facility. They're actually looking
Sure.
at cold storage in particularly in Nigeria. So
Sure.
I think we can, we can get in touch and be able to take further discussions in terms of either directly ourselves or we're able to provide. But if you raise the capital, I think I've seen his comment. We are happy to come in as an operator. We can do that, certainly. And that is something that we are able to do, and we're able to deploy our systems, our personnel, our expertise with pleasure. Able to discuss further.
Wow, Benjamin, thank you. Benjamin, please reach it out to our team and we'll point you to the right people. Thank you. Thank you. Geoffrey is saying the question is answered and we need more conversation, yeah? Especially put up cold storage. You're connected to 4,000 Irish potato farmers. Yes. Geoffrey, I think you should be part of the visit so that we can discuss these things directly while we're at Cold Solutions. I think you should be part. Now I'm even thinking we only put avocado. We said avocado exporters. Now I'm even wondering if we should extend to potato farmers. But very, very fill in the form and we can talk. So we have a tour for very serious farmers to Cold Solutions on the 6th of November, 10 to 1 p.m. Yeah, so fill in the application link. Jack, please put it back or put it again. Thank you so much. Do you offer cold solutions for fish and meat for export? Yes, Brian. Great to see you, Brian.
Yes, we do. In fact, we do have a pack house as well, or what one would call butchery. So we can we have clients that can actually come in, bring in your meat, either in carcasses or chicken, and then we can actually use our facility to do your cuts and pack. So you only pay for using that facility. You don't, there's no fixed cost. So certainly something that we are able to provide. So the beauty of it is that we're able to provide you the butchery facility, at the same time then also provide you the storage. And we also provide you, if you're doing exports, we can then provide you with the necessary to do the staffing of your containers, help you with all the documentation, and then the export procedures. We're able to do that. I think the beauty of it, I think one of the key things that maybe I should have mentioned earlier on is that we are located in a SEZ, which is a special economic zone. So there are a lot of advantages that also accrue, particularly for those who are perhaps importing. You can bring in your products into the SEZ duty and customs free, and only pay at the time of consumption. So we can partner with you to those advantages, and we're able to explain. I think for those who are able to come in for the tour, something that we'll be able to explain further, and that's what actually be able to illustrate. Yeah.
Very true. Thank you, Brian. Very good question. Sorry, we focused a lot on other value chains. Very good. Great to see you. Brian is in the tea business. He's in the tea business as well. Yes. Okay, so Rose, you're saying you're glad to be part. You're into organic fertilizers as well as solar installations. You're based in Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, they're currently not in Zimbabwe. Currently in East Africa. Yeah, but I liked what you said. So if you can raise funding in your country, they can come in as operators. Very interesting, very interesting. But I don't know whether you want to tell Rose anything. I know you're also Zimbabwean, unless I'm wrong, Dr. Newton. You're originally Zimbabwean, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah. Anything you want to tell Rose? Yes.
Okay. Originally Zimbabwean, but I'm more African than anything else.
More than African. Okay, go ahead.
Pan-Africa, yeah. But I think it's good to also have a lot of see a lot of participants from Zimbabwe. It's very encouraging, and generally, I think at the end of the day, our whole ecosystem is that we will go where the demand is, where the need is. So if there's need, we're able to provide the solution. Because remember, we are more of an enabler than anything else. So our role is to ensure that we address this perennial issue of post-harvest losses through the value chain by providing those interventions with our systems, with our capabilities, and be able to grow with the farmers, with all the the entrepreneurs. So we're happy to discuss further if there's need for that. Rose will be able to. I'm sure we can be able to discuss that.
Okay, so we are 2 minutes to time, guys. Thank you. We are done with the questions. If I've missed your question, please forgive me. I think I have done all the questions. I have done all the questions. I have done all the questions, guys. Lots of need on Cold Solutions. It's impressive what you guys have built. We will have a tour on Thursday, on November 6th at 10 o'clock. At Tatu City, we'll be able to discuss commercials and all that. Now I feel like I shouldn't just say avocado. I'll retreat and see to add other value chains, but let's see about that. But thank you so much, Cold Solutions team. You can re-put your numbers again or your emails on chat. Thank you for making time. We keep working together. Indeed, you've seen this is a solution that is really required. It's truly impressive what you guys have built. I think we can appreciate. Thank you, Susan. I see you've started appreciating all the way from Kwale. Thank you, Susan, for appreciating Dr. Newton and the team, for Amina, and I see Geoffrey for making this happen. We keep talking and we keep sending many people your way because this is such a great solution. Thank you so much, guys. I don't know if there's anything. Our team will put back the tour. Rose Mweni, I see that. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. Appreciate Dr. Newton as always. We will advise when the next business leader series is. Dennis Njao, thank you. I see that. Mercy, thank you. I see that, guys. Jack, please put the visit application again, the registration for the tour. We will select. We cannot do more than 30. It will be too many people, but we have to select the right people who can then actually take up these services. So it's an exclusive tour. It's free. We are not charging. So very much welcome. I liked the potato guys also put it. I know it says avocado, but please, you can apply if you feel you're very much in need of this service, and we can look at it and go for the tour on the 6th in Tatu City and also talk about special economic zones. We'll also visit our own facility. We have a facility called Kifaru Exim. It's in Tatu City as well, just behind Cold Solutions. And we are also recruiting a lot of you exporters to export and set up in the SEZ. So very much welcome for the tour, and you'll also see Kifaru Exim. Great to see you all. Thank you so much. Nakuru Potato Cooperative Union. Geoffrey, great to see you. Please fill in for the tour. I think that's very useful. Nakuru Potato Cooperative Union. Very useful for you, Dr. Newton and your team. It's a cooperative union for Nakuru potato farmers. Lots of you in the call. Great to see you. We can end the call here, guys. Dr. Newton, asante.